Thank you, Jean. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Just trying to remember my name. I'm Laura Fawcett, member of the worship committee. My pronouns are she and her, and it is my pleasure to welcome each of you to this in-person and online service of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here this morning. We're thrilled to offer our annual poetry service, and for those of you, anyone here who is new, this is an annual service with poets all from your very own USNH congregation, which is really exciting. So we have quite an array of poetry and music. I have a couple of announcements to share as we settle in this morning. I know they're here. Yes. Okay. Books or collected writings by today's poets may be found in the USNH library up on the second floor. Proceedings from the sales of Terry Blackhawk's One Less River book, which will be at the Waverly table after the service, will go for backpacks and school supplies at the August 22nd giveaway to the children. Please use the QR code to enjoy a 5-minute movie, which is very cool, based on Terry's poem with this wonderful title, Overheard Among the Arthropods, which is collected in her book, One Less River. Also, I am today returning 2 of Terry's books to the USNH library after being prompted by Peggy Ray that I'd had them out for too long. So those will be available for someone else to check out in case you've been looking for them anytime in the last 5 months. Let's see. I think that is it for announcements. We're inspired this morning by Jean Kimmel's improvisatory methodology. Okay.
Some keep the Sabbath going to church. I keep it staying at home with a bobolink for a chorister and an orchard for a dome. Some keep the Sabbath in surplice. I just wear my wings, and instead of tolling the bell for church, our little sexton sings. God preaches, a noted clergyman, and the sermon is never long. So instead of getting to heaven at last, I'm going all along. And now, if you will, please rise in body and spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 304, A Fierce Unrest. In the gray hymnal, as we sing, anyone who is holding a particular joy in their heart is invited to come forward and light a candle in front of the podium so that we may feel the light of your joy. And if you are bearing a sorrow of any kind, you may come up and choose to put a stone or shell in the water of our beloved community so we may bear the burden of your sorrow. So again, we sing hymn number 304 in the gray hymnal.
For the covenant, a couple services ago, I decided, since it was summertime and we had a little bit of leeway, to take a slightly deeper dive into the underlying meaning behind those pithy, concise bullet points that we recite together at most services when we read collectively our covenant. And so the other day I covered be open, value differences, and listen deeply. So 3 more today with just one sentence after each. Because I always wondered, you know, in the order of service it says, for the full covenant, look on the website, but I'd never done it for many years. So under use kind language, it says, speaking with care and consideration, being gentle with one another, and remembering there is power in silence and reflection. For speak our truth, by sharing personal stories that build trust and community, by speaking our truths with courage and encouraging others to do the same, especially in difficult times. And then one of our favorites in this congregation, of course, is seek humor and joy. Remembering that these qualities can enrich all that we do, and by holding things lightly when we are able.
So for our Feast of Poetry, our poets will be reading their own poems, and interspersed are various morsels of that feast, which are quotes by poets about poetry. Poetry morsel number 1. If I read a book and it makes my whole body so cold no fire can warm me, I know that is poetry. If I feel physically as if the top of my head were taken off, I know that is poetry. These are the only ways I know it. Is there any other way?
Good morning. My name is Jim Vaughn. My pronouns are he, him, and his. The poem I'd like to read today is called Circles. Why are we born to die? Why do we die to be born? The sun is reborn every day from the womb of night, delivering the world from Orion's cool embrace. Yet even Sol, the Son of God, must return to dusk at the appointed hour, or scorch the land with suffocating breath. Grampy Blomquist was once a child, they say, who saw first light beneath the roof of rough Nebraskan sod. He met his Far East Emily through the U.S. mail. 4 kids later, when their union ripped apart, they sent my mother off to boarding school. She never mentioned it when I was young. I spied Grampy in a field one sweaty afternoon, wrestling a boulder with an iron bar. He sketched me rabbits, a fawn beside a birch. We found him on his cot one morn, bed sores cold and gray. Where does the old sun go? Only ghostly fingers playing at the northern lights hint at odd survival in a hidden realm. Uncle Giles was born a burly bear who suckled fish oil down in coastal Maine. He and Daddy brought us trolling lakes for trout. The scent of gutted trophies sizzling on a wood fire lingers still. They found his body floating in a bay amidst a splintered lobster boat and the stench of diesel fuel. The mackerel knew a circle closed that day. The newborn moon grows strong on twilight's milk, waxing for a fortnight into an awestruck countenance that mellows evening's shade. Yet even at the instant of Luna's crowning fullness begins the waning slide to oblivion in the crescent dawn, the other side of childhood. Grammy Bond was a country girl of New Hampshire's rolling rock farm hills. I was amazed when she let down her hair. From a tight knot bun, it fell halfway to the floor. She was baptized in the basin at the local Baptist church. Not a halfway person, she chose total immersion. I asked when she was leaving, as I wanted her to stay. She pretended hurt at my impatience. Where does the old moon go? Earth shined feeble on her shadowed face. Sometimes from beneath bleached deathbed sheets, she bites the sun, eclipsing life with a pregnant stare. Are we born to die? Do we die to be born? Thank you.
Obviously, I had to lower it after Jim. Hi, this is called Chosen. Okay. Today after lunch, I feel it. Why today? I don't really know. But I have this feeling that I'm someone's project. I sure hope so. It would give my life meaning. And maybe this someone is watching me right now. And why not? Out of all the billions of citizens stuck to the stale crust, it's finally my turn. Yes. And this thought makes me so happy that I go outside to twirl on the spotlight of the sun, bow, blow a kiss to the heavens, and waltz around barefoot in the backyard, singing and dancing with my shadow and with the trees and with the flowers and with the rake. I lie in the grass and talk with a moth and a sparrow and the ant that crawls onto my knee. When the sun sinks low, I stand and twirl and spin, arms outstretched, eyes closed to welcome the darkness that will bring the stars and the endless cosmos. But when I stop and open my eyes, there is Lionel, my neighbor, in his backyard, nodding and smiling at me, walking Monty, his fat arthritic beagle, to the place where he does his business. Now I feel conspicuous and sad, knowing that I am not someone's special project after all, but something else instead. I go inside, and later, when you come home and supper is not ready and it's my turn to cook, you will ask, "What happened today?" "Nothing special," I say. There are just some things that can't be explained.
Poetry morsel number 2 comes from my friend Megan Adler. She and I have both studied with the wonderful poet Marie Howe. And Megan quotes Marie: "Writing is a way of discovering what we don't yet know. A poem is an experience that brings us to something we can't imagine before it begins.
My name is Roy Money, and my pronouns are he and him. I have a couple of poems. The second one I wrote because the first one didn't seem to accomplish all that I wanted. The first one is called Ascension. A bow to our extended family in the phylogenetic tree, life's proliferation into a multitude of being, and to all that is taken for granted in our journey of ascension, the air we breathe as long as we are able, the ground that greets our feet and provides our food, the water that covers the earth and is a medium of life, so much that preceded us we depend on. Yet we still consider as strangers, surveying them from afar. Here at the top of the canopy and the acclaimed crown of life, where all below is secondary and subordinate, because we are the ever master. Or so we thought, until now, almost too late. It becomes clear we have lost our way, no longer knowing gratitude and alignment. Drunk on dreams of separation and dominion, blinding us to our original place in the community of the whole. Breathing. Panthalassa, patient mother, in the beginning planetary sea, bearing forth the first beings in one long labor of creation, from the first simple cells to briny creatures breathing in the deep, and later dwellers of the upper space until a more familiar form, breathing like our own and declaring domination, while we break reason's heart until it bleeds, unmindful of the single world in each. Though I find consolation to recall there is always one body breathing that will outlast the worst, and what is lost is just beyond embrace. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Karen. My pronouns are she and her. This is a poem I wrote about someone I was very much involved with for many, many years, and he passed away. His anniversary will be 8 years this month. So in his honor, I'm reading this poem. It's late afternoon and the sun is fading. In a few hours, there will be total darkness, and no one will be able to see the magnificent Lake George. The mountains frame the picturesque lake with its hemlocks, ferns, mountain laurels, and mighty pines. The haze of passing clouds, muted color, stretches across the horizon. One can feel the light mist in the air from the late afternoon sun. The waves lap across the shore. Sunlight illuminates the speeding boats that go racing by, different shapes and sizes, colorful umbrellas as they parade across the crystal clear lake. The sailboats soak in the sun as they sway from side to side, hoping to catch the subtle breeze or the ferry that glides across the lake with its passengers, laughing, whispering, and embracing each other. A large picture window reflects the late afternoon with its pleasantries. Since you were a child, you enjoyed coming to Lake George with your family to lap up the sunshine as you explored the lake, sampling the coolness of the water as you plunge into its refreshing depths. Although some of them are now gone, most return every July to enjoy the afternoon on the lake, picnic lunches on one of the many islands, or the fireworks every Thursday evening. You were embraced with laughter and gaiety. Familiar voices, comforting words, a gentle touch, peaceful memories soothe your body and soul as we say goodbye. The moon will continue to shine its reflection on the lake, a guiding light to your internal path. Thank you.
Okay, and I got back in time with that.
Each week, we lift up the spiritual value of generosity by asking for your offering for the diverse ministries of this congregation. You can go to our website or mail to our address. You may also make your offering by text using the number found on your order of service. If you are here, as opposed to home listening to us, while you sing the hymn, you can put your donation in the plate as the ushers pass. I want to mention one thing, again, for folks that don't know Gene and are new to hearing his, what are we calling these? Free improvisations. Gene, his awesome creativity materializes each time he sits down at the piano. He's composing this as he sits there, which is just amazing. And it reminds me of those Tibetan sand paintings that are so meticulously done and then just blown away. So we'll be blown away while you're playing, and then it will fade away into the ether when you're done.
Thank you, Jean and Laura and Jesse and Ellen. It's just been a joy to put this service together, and to all the poets. Poetry morsel number 3. Poetry and art generally can convey more of our complete person than discourse, or even our physical presence. I can refract secrets about myself through a poem that I would not commonly tell you in person unless I knew you very well. In art, we perform to tell the truth.
No, I'm too hot. I mean, too cold. Too hot, too cold, too hot, too. I'm too.
I'm Claire Bien. I use she, her pronouns. This poem was inspired by my misreading of the title of one of Kathleen McTeague's sermons delivered in January 2011, Salmon, the Face of the Divine. It was astonishing to see the words on my desktop suggesting that to look upon the face of a salmon was to look upon God. Perhaps it was blasphemy. And then realization, not salmon, but sermon, Kathleen's, the one I'd missed most of because I was driving back from Concord that morning. The parts of the sermon I heard, listening at the back as Kathleen's voice rang through the sanctuary, were an affirmation of my faith. Quoting poets through the ages, Kathleen offered God as the weaver in the woods of the world, as Ruach, the wind of life, as prairie grass, as the invisible thread linking all hearts and minds, all life, a God of elemental nature and of pure energy. If that is true, then a salmon is as much God, and the face of a salmon the face of God, as the prairie grasses, or the dark nebulae and the sifted rings of interstellar dust, and the wilderness next door. And though I cannot know the mind of a salmon, and cannot know whether it also possesses the thread of pure energy that links all hearts and minds, all life, that knowing is not necessary, for the salmon is a creature of nature and of nature's God, and because the energy of its mind, of its astonishing instinctual nature, is a vital part of that invisible thread of life, I already know its mind, its essence, even though we have never held conversation over dinner. Though that is not entirely true, for of course I have eaten salmon on occasion when I have spoken about matters of faith. Many believe you are what you eat. I am resolved to eat more salmon, prepared in delicious and creative ways, so that I shall become more familiar with salmon, and in that way, too, know God.
That's marvelous.
Stop. Hi, good morning. My name's Andrew Curry. Many of you know me better, probably, as the husband of Christine Shadle, who was a long-time USNH member and poet who passed away earlier this year. So when I was invited to read one of her poems at this service, I wanted to find one that she hadn't read before. And I chose one called Boris Berezovsky Plays La Valse. Back in 1997, we went to a piano recital given by a young Russian pianist named Boris Berezovsky. And he concluded the program with an electrifying version of a piece by Ravel called La Valse. And that inspired Chris to write this poem. So La Valse simply means the waltz, but it's a world away from the the bright, carefree waltzes of Johann Strauss that you normally think of. It was written in 1919 in the aftermath of the First World War. And like a lot of the art produced at that time, it's kind of jagged, dissonant, a bit manic. So I think that's certainly reflected in the music, and I think it's reflected a little in the poem. So, Boris Berezovsky plays La Valse. Dressed all in black, he's as big as a bear, yet so gentle he seems, with blue eyes and pink cheeks, and his blunt-cut brown hair. Plays for us, plays us a waltz. On it spins, but the cross currents pull at the sense. Then it shifts around, waltzes again. Dancing so, hands swoop low, singing out, waltz with me, chasing up, fingers fly, shadowing the keys as the music grows dark. The waltz, intermittent, gains power, insistent. The half bars and half songs combine for a driving, compulsive, maniacal waltz tune one must hear and dance to. Now the current flows down his arms to the copper wound strings, unwinding like cobras, the black lid reflecting their sound-spitting crack. We lean forward, intent on this blue-eyed bear, bright with the sparks from his claws as he plays for us 1,000-volt waltz. Thank you.
Yeah.
All this talk of morsels has me thinking about the coffee hour and cookies and things like that, which reminded me of an announcement I forgot to make. Welcome newcomers. If there are newcomers here today, please feel free to join the Connections team at the welcome table we have every week in the rear of the social hall. It's a good way to get to know a few people and just break your way in here. So welcome. There's also other announcements at the end of the order of service. Morsel number 4. Audre Lorde. You know what? When Terry read, there was something she read, I'm sorry, and it made me change my reading. She quoted Marie Howe as saying, "Writing is a way of discovering what we don't yet know. A poem is an experience that brings us to something we can't imagine before it begins." Audre Lorde wrote, "It is through poetry that we give name to those ideas which are, until the poem, nameless and formless, about to be birthed, but already felt. These places of possibility within ourselves are dark because they are ancient and hidden. They have survived and grown strong through darkness. Within these deep places, each of us holds an incredible reserve of creativity and power, of unexamined and unrecorded emotion and feeling. Poetry is not a luxury. It is a vital necessity of our existence. Poetry is the way we help give name to the nameless so it can be thought. The farthest external horizons of our hopes and fears are cobbled by our poems, carved from the rock experiences of our daily lives."
There it was again, that look. It was always about that look, pure as sin and ne'er mistook, quivering the atmosphere in subversive pulse. In what feverish dreamscapes did it convulse? Charisma is a deadly drug, eyebrow lifted, so very smug. Climate cooled, emotions harmed. By unheeded hurt, no one's charmed. There it was again, that shrug. It was always about that shrug, the minute gesture telling all. Try to unplug. Uncaring and off-putting is that attitude paired with the leer. It's always rude. The delicate ambience implodes. The wounded gaze reveals the pain that simple moment did contain. There it was again, that goad. It was always about that goad, fearing the temper that would soon explode. A quick intake of breath conveys the hurt within that thoughtless phrase, puncturing her inner grace. There were others who would soothe her soul, never seeking to control. Healing was the only goal. There it was again, the embrace. It was always about the embrace. The look, the shrug, the goad, all were erased. Herself made whole by others' care. Their loving kindness as a prayer to comfort and sustain, their only creed. Restored is one's own dignity by others, selfless ministry. Relationships are naughty things, layered with unspoken needs that tangle hopes like invasive weeds. Cultivated o'er time with unconscious thought of hurtful consequences that they brought. Loving kindness heals the hurt that hope and love it would subvert. Kindness is a warm embrace. Callous scars have left no trace. Living with intention. Remember when the life you were to frame was not within your ken or grasp to shape, nor yet was choice or option yours to claim, nor was the wisdom needed for escape. Time, the teacher, speaks of future yearning and shines a light on choices ne'er explained. Such rewards may need a deeper learning, with unexpected benefits to be gained. Now, script a life of purpose and design. Savor the nectar of that fragile fruit, nurturing the source so the efforts align. With vigor, engage in mindful pursuit. Intention fuels the fires of lives well spent. Thus, the benefit of all that is well meant.
Good morning. My name is Jamie Ross. My pronouns are she and her, and I have 3 of my older poems, some short ones to share with you. The first is Poem to Zoe. She is so beautiful, known to her friends and those who love her as Daisy, reflective of the radiant sunshine face she shows, bright at the core, light of a million stars. Around the edges, white and petals soft, divine in spirit, gentle to all she touches. I know she knows sadness, but not because she says it's so, and I will never tell. I will just appreciate the flower as it has grown with me, while many years have come and gone, and rain has only served to strengthen her roots. Another time. Sunny afternoons spent romping in the park under the watchful eye of Nanny Kay or Grandma. Mom looked on from the 6th floor window overlooking the park expanse. Marty and I would sit under the big cherry blossom tree or bicycle down the dandelion path with double-barred iron fence dividing meadow grass from the more civilized bench line. We were 5 and 7, respectively. Aunt Gertie, perched in her short lawn chair with her bottomless bag at her feet, containing all that could possibly be contained, but most importantly to me, it would be filled with assorted hard candy. She would ask, "Who's my beautiful girl?" while raising her purse to her lap as if the answer was the password to the opening of the gate to which all those wonders would reside. I would answer with a resounding, "I am," upon which my cheeks were adoringly pinched and 2 candies produced, one for Marty and one for me. And merrily we went along, continuing our play, not fully appreciating at that time how very wondrous it was. My quieting heart. I stood and watched the log roll down the river as water rippled over rocks and crashed on the shoreline not far from where I stood. My eyes gazed widely and watched the gulls dive in a rhythmic dance, one, then another, in a harmony that patterned the ripple of the water and the syncopated beat of water to rock and ripple to wave to shore. And still I stood, as if time stood still and no agenda moved me, other than the swell within my quieting heart as all the peace around came flooding in.
Sneaking around garbage cans, 4 feet on the ground. Speed is the key to survival, jumping at the slightest sound. There's an odor to the city, all eyes look away. Street signs sing a message, but there's too much to say. An old man finds a gold mine in an alley which most just pass. Sees beauty in what we throw away, windows where we see broken glass. Slipping gold into his coat pocket, tattered as his pride, steps out into the ocean and the waves move aside. Locked into one role, singing just one song to make anyone feel like life's just too long. And the real key to survival in this city is if I look at you and you look at me. Encounters another just like him, though their eyes will never meet. They walk on opposite sides of a briefcase, but share the same street, and both want to share their gold mines, but both tongues are tied by fear, feeling both pity, jealousy, the pattern's all too clear. Walking in one road, singing just one song to make anyone feel like life's just too long. And the real key to survival in this city is if I look at you and you look at me. If I smile at you and you smile at me. You know the way to find true harmony is if I sing with you and you sing with me. It's not trust, but it's a start. It's not the key to a heart. It's a way to unlock potential energy. If I look at you and you look at me. If I smile at you and you smile at me. It's not the end. It ain't no game. It's me calling you by your true name. And it's a way to unlock potential energy. If I look at you and you look at me. If I smile at you and you smile at me. If I sing with you and you sing with me.
Her legs. It's told how our father first fell in love with her legs, which was all he could see from the sidewalk window up into her dorm's coffee shop or office or the floor or of wherever she was working just above ground. How those lovely, shapely legs were all that identified her from their wedding day, their smiling faces outside the chapel door, cut off at the shoulders by a clumsy, if well-meaning photographer friend. How they would laugh later at their headlessness, and then much later, laugh about the mosquitoes in the bedroom that hot June night in Victoria, BC, her naked, jumping on the bed, shrieking, sweating, swatting, those legs working quite nicely, thank you, blood from the bugs smashed against the wall. And later still, how she would laugh, "Terry, how are you?" wholly unbothered by the scolding guard on the phone who'd called to report me. Or how, after reading my first book of poems, she laughingly said, "Oh, if that's the worst of it," relieved, I'm sure, by what I, her difficult one, had opted not to tell. And how it was that all I could manage to say beside her dying body was, "Mom, you've still got those great legs," stroking them when no other words would come. So if you will now please say with me the words for passing the flame, which are in your order of service.
I need to say something first.
Oh.
I don't know if this has ever happened, but the flame has extinguished itself.
Well then, it must be poetry.
One or two times, okay. I think, well, it shows that we really have created a Tibetan sand
I think we have. Thank you, Laura. Okay, thank you. Here we go. Please say with me the words for passing the flame, which are in your order of service. Carry forth this chalice flame, its illumination into our daily lives, its sustaining warmth into our relationships, the light of reason shining beyond these walls. May we carry the fire of hope in our hearts this day and in the weeks to come. And now, poem 12:12. A word is dead when it is said, some say. I say it just begins to live that day. Thank you all.
You too. Okay. Oh no! Hurry, hurry. Hello, George. Probably already snuck out. I'll cut you out. Hey, Philip, how are you? Hello.
Hello, Carol.
Thank you. Okay, she's not. I'm looking for Laura, but I'm sure I'm going to have to grab her out behind the kitchen. So I will toss these out, shall I? You can have this back. Thank you so much.
Maybe it needs it, huh?
See you. Oh, I think she's gone. She's gone. Okay. So, time for me to leave.
So why is this not charged?